Now, for the simplest definition of your communication, it's simply this sharing of information between individuals. The moment that at least two individuals are sharing information, then that's already considered as a communication. Okay? The fact that two or more individuals are exchanging their ideas, their thoughts, their concepts, their imaginations, behaviors, written texts between each other, okay, and then they give feedback to each other is already a form of communication. So, as you have seen it here, okay, information can come in the form of thoughts, concepts, imaginations, behaviors, written text. So how are you be able to communicate your thoughts? Okay, sometimes when you communicate your thoughts, you speak out loud, you speak what you think of, and that thought is being expressed into words, and then other people will hear what you're going to say, and then they will interpret it, and then they will give you a feedback. How about concepts? Explaining concepts to other people by talking about those concepts and explaining those concepts to other people, and then the other people will listen to your explanation, and then that those people who are listening to the explanation of your concepts will process what they have listened to and what they have learned, and they will give you feedback. Okay? Imaginations. How are you going to communicate your imaginations? By describing what you are imagining. Sometimes even through making a drawing of what you are imagining is already a form of communication. You are imagining something, and then you put it into a drawing where other people may be able to see. And that's already a form of communication because you have imparted what you have imagined. You have imparted what you are thinking. Behaviors. You are communicating your behaviors by showing through different actions, different facial expressions, different gestures that you are doing. Okay? Those behaviors can be interpreted, and it can be a form of communication. Okay? Written text, you read the written text, you understand what the written text implies, and then you give feedback. That's already communication. Okay? So communication can either be a verbal and non-verbal, you know this already. It can be written, it can be spoken, or mixed media. Okay? So when you say communication, it's simply me sending a message to someone, and that someone will understand my message, and then that someone, that person will give me a feedback in order for me to know if the message that I have conveyed is correct or not. Okay? So, in the communication process, there are three crucial parts that are very, very important for us to understand. Now, the three important parts of the communication process is the sender, the channel, or what you call the medium, and the recipient. Okay, so this is actually the communication process. So let me just explain what happens here in the communication process. So one of the most important parts, the one of the most crucial parts of the communication process is the sender. Why? Because that's who, or that's where the message will come from. Without the sender having the message, okay, there's nothing to send. Okay, there's nothing to start the communication between individuals. So the sender will have to have a message. Now that message will be encoded into the channel. Okay, that message will be encoded into the channel, and that channel will help decode that message to be able to be received by the recipients. But that doesn't stop there, okay? The communication process doesn't stop there. The recipient, okay, in order for the communication process to be complete, the recipient must give feedback, okay? So again, the sender will send a message. It will be encoded into the channel. The channel will help decode the message to be able to be received by the recipient. Now, in order for the sender to know if the recipient really understood the message, the recipient now must process the information he or she has received and give feedback back to the sender. So the feedback now, the recipient will provide a feedback. Again, the feedback will be encoded into the channel. Okay, the channel or the medium. Okay, they're just the same. Now the channel will help create or will help decode the feedback, and these will now be sent back to the sender. Now the sender, once the feedback was received by the sender will now know if the recipient, okay, received the message correctly or not based on the given feedback by the recipient. Okay, so that's the communication process. It's not just a one-way communication process, it's a two-way communication process. There must and always have a feedback to be sent back to the sender. Okay, so this is also the communication process, but this time, okay, we have what we call here the noise. Okay, if you can see it here on the channel part or on the medium part, where we have here the barriers. Okay, we have here the barriers. All right, now these barriers can be in the form of different kinds of noise. Okay, now different kinds of noise. Okay, there are 5 types of noise in communication. There's going to be the physical noise, there's going to be the physiological noise, the psychological noise, the semantic noise, the cultural noise. Okay, and these all interfere with the medium or the channel. Okay, these all types of noise in communication will interfere in the smooth facility of the information. Okay, so when it comes to the physical noise, it includes environmental sounds. Okay, raining sounds can be quite really considered as a noise, specifically if it's really, raining so hard and you're trying to communicate someone in the phone. Okay, you're talking to someone in the phone and it's raining so hard it interferes with the signal. Okay, and sometimes the sound that comes out from the other end of the line sounded, choppy, sounded gibberish. Okay, because of the different environmental noise that affects, the transmission of messages. Okay, thunderstorms, yes, barking dogs, yes. This is the much common problems or scenario that we encounter, especially when this kind of a setup. I myself are having problems right now, actually, while I'm doing my recording. Sometimes you may be able to hear a dog barking in the background. Okay, so that interferes with my discussion, and so that interferes with my delivery of the discussion to you guys. Okay, now sounds from fans, lights, and windows, especially if you are, if you have your fan near you, and you will be able to hear the sound of the fan on the microphone. Okay, physiological noise includes physical weakness and sickness. Okay, if you have headaches, then you have a hard time processing your thoughts. Okay, and that interferes with communication. Deafness and blindness, yes, we have sign languages, but what if that deaf and blind is not yet well versed with sign language? So it's gonna be, that's gonna be a challenge for both parties. Okay, talking fast or slow. Sometimes when you talk fast, you are not being understood by other people. Okay, if you talk too slow, okay, the tendency is that the other people will try to hang on your every word, and then they will try to, uh, second guess of what you're going to say because you're too slow to communicate. Okay, high pitch or low pitch, the temperature in the room. Okay, psychological noise includes psychological factors like belief, or attitudes or behavior, sensitive issues, religious, ethnic, and political, financial crisis. Okay, those are psychological factors. Semantic noise, different meaning. Okay, syntactical barriers, jargon words. Sometimes there are a lot of people who know a lot of jargon words, and then some other people, when they try to hear those jargon words, they don't understand what they're trying to tell. Okay, mispronunciation. Okay, one mispronounced word can cost the entire meaning of a sentence. Okay, grammatical wrong sentence. Okay, special word or grammatical wrong sentence. Okay, it really, it really interferes with the smooth sailing of providing information and providing communication. Cultural noise, wrong explanation, wrong meaning, wrong posture, wrong gesture, eye contact, space, touch, and dress up. When you go to other countries, all right? When you go to other countries and you are not well versed with their culture, okay? And then there is a culture there that, I mean, it's considered rude, okay? And then you suddenly do that in that specific place. Okay, so that will be considered as rude for other people. Okay, talking loudly in public transportation is considered rude in other countries. Okay, whereas here in the Philippines, we talk so, if you have someone if you have someone talking to you on the public transportation, we don't care about other people. But for other countries, okay, they value the silence in public transportation. That's why it's considered rude to talk in loud voice, or to when you answer your phone in a public transportation and you talk in a loud voice. It's considered rude in other countries. Okay, so that's cultural noise, and those kinds of noises, the noises that I have mentioned here, all interfere with communication. Okay, now, the elements of the communication process. Okay, so this is actually an example, all right, of how the communication process works. So there's the sender there, one of the crucial parts of the communication process, and of course, the sender is the one giving the message. Now, the message will be encoded in the medium. So, what's the medium here is the phone. Okay, the smartphone. So the message by the sender was encoded in the medium, which is the phone, and it's been the medium, or the channel is trying to process the message being sent by the sender, and then the medium will try to decode the message to the receiver. Okay, and then finally the receiver, all right, will see the decoded message. Okay, so the message coming from the sender will be, movie starts at 9. Can you drive us? Now, this is not a complete, okay, it doesn't stop here. All right, the communication process doesn't stop there. And so the receiver of the message must give feedback. Okay, so yeah. So the receiver said, yeah, be there by 8:30. So that's the feedback. So that's the reply. Now the receiver will also encode the feedback into the same medium, okay, which is the smartphone. And then the smartphone or the channel or the medium will try to process the message and decode the message back to the sender. Okay? So they understood each other, therefore the communication process is complete. Okay? So I hope you have been refreshed with the knowledge, or with your knowledge of the communication process. Okay, the key elements of the communication process: the sender, the message, the medium, the channel, the noise, the receiver, and the feedback. Okay, those are the most important parts and elements of the communication process. Okay, so if you have questions with our discussion, just hit me with a message in our group chat. Okay, so hit me with a message in the group chat, and try to answer your questions there during our remote coaching. So that concludes our discussion for module 1. Okay, I'm on now to our module 2. Okay, all right.